to the clock. Here you go.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call to order the Katuitt Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners. Meeting January 12th, 2023. Time is 17:31. We're a minute late. Chief, do we have, let's see, who do we have in attendance? Present.
Pisano.
Zace.
Conley. Chief is in attendance as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Call, let's see, reading, recording, we're good with that. Public comment. Chief, we have any public comment out there?
No, sir, there is nothing in the chat and I have received no emails.
Okay, anybody on the call right now have any public comment they would like? Okay, with that, we will move on. First order of business, review of the minutes. Did you gentlemen have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
I did.
I have a question. It seems that either it cuts off in the middle or I didn't get a second page.
Going back in myself to double check that.
No, I'm looking at 4 pages.
Yeah,
I had one.
I get 5 actually.
Oh, you're right. It's 5.
Rick, do us a favor. Why don't you go try deleting what you have, or kill that screen and go take a double look at it if you don't mind. If I could be so bold.
Yeah.
Lucy, 9. Ooh.
Ah. Now it came through.
I'd like to take a look at that. Let me just ask Mr. Zace just to confirm, did you have any questions, concerns as Commissioner Pisano was looking at his?
I did not.
Okay, thank you. And I do not as well. So let's see how Mr. Commissioner Pisano goes and we'll go from there.
He usually finds something, so let's
Yes.
fingers crossed, or the over under is 1.
I bet he was that guy that asked for extra homework too,
Yeah.
By the way, as you're doing that, Rick, good evening to Katuitt Fire Rescue and Lieutenant Clark. Thanks for joining us today, and Mr. Gardner as well.
Well, I got the first, what I think is 4 pages,
Well, it could
and
be
then a
4.
blank page.
Well, it could be 4, depending on how, what's the last, did it say all in favor is the last item you see?
After personnel and training, I get a blank page, and then it comes up starting with a discussion about the breaker.
You want me to send you a copy of this?
Yeah, why don't you do that if you have the ability to do that quickly, that'd be great.
I think I
Please.
downloaded this.
Please.
So
We don't have to hold, we don't have to approve them tonight. Rather than hold things up for me to get a full copy and read it, let's just go on if you don't mind, and
We
we
can
can
absolutely,
readdress it at the next meeting.
do
Two sets at once,
you want me to send it to you anyway?
please.
please do, Adam, so that he'll have that, and that's a valid point. We can move on from there. So thank you, Rick, appreciate that. Chief, we need to obviously make a note that we have to double check or double approve both sets of minutes next time around. Okay, that being said, Chief, I think you're up. You have the floor, sir.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, commissioners and the public. The chief's report for January 12th. First off, I want to start with saying it's a busy, kind of busy compressed time frame since the last meeting with the holidays, negotiations. So I will make a better effort moving forward to get all of these items uploaded into your drives at least 24 hours in advance of the meetings so that you have more time to find missing pages in the minutes. So I'll make sure moving forward we get those loaded up there much sooner for all of your visibility.
Great.
Moving on into responses. December had a total of 66 responses, 1 fire, 2 overheats, 44 rescue EMS, 1 hazardous condition, 8 service calls, 5 good intent, 5 false alarms. And the last meeting, there was a question on the 2 building fires that were in last month's report. And I did reaffirm that one of those was in the district and one of those was in Osterville, which I did not have that information readily available in front of me at that last meeting. Any questions on the December responses?
I do. I was a little confused between the 2 documents. I'm trying to get back to see what the name of the other one was. There, I can't tell if there is a commingling of monthly and annual data. It's labeled incident report monthly, but under EMS calls, line item 321, it lists 494 EMS calls.
Yeah,
And line 322 shows 20 motor vehicle and 324, 15 motor vehicle with injury. And this is listed on the monthly report. Now it seems to get
if you
straightened
scroll
out.
all the way, if you scroll all the way down, you see that the date range was the entire year.
Yeah.
I tried that and could not get to that, which was going to be the other half of my question.
Okay. Yeah, so in the chief's report, I have so those documents should be labeled in your folder. One of them is should be calendar year.
It says the CFD CY report.
Yeah, so yeah, the CFD CY, so calendar year report 2022. And because it's a canned report in the system that we run on a monthly basis, the title just automatically populates. I don't actually enter that title in the top of the printout. It's a canned report that populates with monthly because that's how it was set up for the reporting. But I thought I would just for your edification and the board's edification, just give a snapshot of the last calendar year.
Got it.
Okay.
So this isn't actually last month's report. This is last year's annual report.
There's two in there. One is the monthly report. And
That's
one,
the CFD monthly, right?
yeah, one says monthly and one says CY. It's the calendar year report. Yeah, we did that one, monthly training, overlapping. All right, you know what? I understand why you're having a challenge with that, because if you refresh your browsers, you should see the monthly report in there.
There it is. Oh, perfectly clear now.
All right.
If
I was gonna say, I know our
going
guys
into
work
what-
hard, but 494 calls in a month seemed like a stretch.
They could do it.
If I just want to go on record that I had no problem understanding what was going on.
Thank you. So now that both reports are clearly titled and placed in the appropriate folders there. So the information in the report that's in there is essentially what we just listed off. And then as we get into the admin report, we can touch on calendar year 2022. Any other questions under the December responses? All right, thank you. Under administration, we're going to be applying for an AFG grant, try to get funding to replace engine 263, which has been out of service for a while, as you're aware, and in the shop, the age of the apparatus makes it difficult to find replacement components for, but we're hoping that we can get everything, as I briefed last month, taken care of and addressed so that we are able to utilize that apparatus until either the CIP is approved for replacement or that we're able to secure grant funding for the replacement. After the last meeting, towards the end of the last meeting, I should say, I made mention that there was an incoming storm just before Christmas. Fortunately, we had no significant impacts here in the village. I think probably the worst damage in the village was the tree that came down in my yard. But you know, the guys monitored the conditions throughout the village, made sure that the roads were open and passable throughout the duration. There were some flooding issues in other villages, but we weathered the storm quite well, and I appreciate everybody that was putting in the extra effort here to make sure that the village was safe and secure. Calendar year 2022 statistics. Last year, we had 829 incidents, down 85 from calendar year 21. And the breakdown is listed there in the report, as well as the report that was put into the folder for your review. Any questions under administration?
What are special incidents?
Those are generally complaints that come in. People have concern about something that they oftentimes they're complaints. So
Okay.
not complaints about the organization, but complaints about things people are witnessing, perhaps with neighbors, things of that nature. So,
I see.
Chief, could you back up a little bit if you would? I just want to make sure everybody's straight on what you're doing with regards to the grant that you're applying for.
yes,
All right, just talk a little bit about that. You've done some of that work in previous roles, correct?
yes, sir.
And it's a federal grant that you're applying for. Could take multiple periods of time to get, multiple iterations, and there's no guarantee we'll get anything at all, as
That's
I
correct.
understand it. But perhaps I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page of what you're trying to do there. Obviously, we need to replace that engine at some point. You're taking a proactive approach, trying to get some federal funds to help us with that, correct?
That is correct.
And that could range from obviously 0 to 100% of the cost of that apparatus.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you've been successful leveraging that program in the past?
Yes, not for apparatus, but other large capital expenses, SCBA's, portable radios, things of that nature. So
I can probably guess, but what does AFG stand for?
assistance to firefighters grant.
Oh, okay.
So let us know anything you need on that, Chief. Obviously, you and I have talked about that, but let me just, just on the record here so everybody knows what you're doing. If there's anything you need from any of us on that, do not hesitate to, get us involved to help you out, okay?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm certain I will be reaching out for information and support and advocacy. So,
Cool, thank you.
thank you. Under personnel, we had one positive citizen comment, letter that we received in regards to one of the calls up above, one of the overheat calls. And very happy with the service and the way that the crew went above and beyond to help her address the situation that she encountered in her home. Next, on the personnel, I have a few of the individuals that are involved with our reassurance program. That just to kind of give you an update on where that's at, and that is the program that really was an internal grassroots effort from the guys here to develop a program to reach the older adult community. And I believe in here we have firefighter Doug Williamson and firefighter Christian Gardner on the line that are welcome to join us if they're there.
Chief, it's Lieutenant Clark. Thanks, sir.
Okay, we have Lieutenant.
The other two fellows are here as well. Thank you to you and the Board of Fire Commissioners for having us in tonight. We just wanted to reach out and let you guys know what Doug and Chris have been up to. Chris identified a need in the community recently with some of the elderly folk that he's been really passionate about. Doug has been in a position where he's been caring for his elderly mother and has got some firsthand knowledge on it. The two of them came to me to talk about some programs that they wanted to run. And at this point, we're going to pass it off to Doug, and he's going to kind of tell you where they're at with it. And then Christian's got a few things he'd like to say as well.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting us. Just wanted to give you an idea of what we're looking at doing. Brian, Christian, and myself are working on a community outreach program with the idea of focusing in on the elderly or anyone confined to their home due to illness or disability. The idea of the program is to call them between the hours of 10 and 2 o'clock. We're going to try to reach out to them 2 times. And if there's no contact that is made, we will go and do a home visit. The goal of the program is to provide these people and their family with a sense of safety by the Kentuit Fire Department. It's just checking in on them on a daily basis to reassure them that somebody is looking out for them. By no means is this to replace any home health care services that they have or any life alert systems that they have. This is just an added thing that we want to give back to the community. The other local police departments on the Cape do offer a similar service to this, but no fire department does, and Barnstable Police does not. That's why we're trying to take this program over. We are at the beginning stages of this. We will update you guys on a monthly basis of where we are during the development. Our idea is to kick it off in April. That'll give us enough time. We have some stuff we got to work through as a group, but we're looking to kick it off in April. I'm going to kick it over to Christian with some other stuff, and then we'll open it up to any questions that you have, and we'll gladly answer where we can of where we are right now based on the questions you guys ask. How's that sound?
Great.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here. As Doug mentioned, there's many police departments across the Commonwealth that utilize this program, and it really is just a great success. It's a awesome opportunity for us to build a relationship with our community. Here in Kentuit, we're expecting to have at least 10 to 20 residents sign up for this program, but we will be equipped to handle many more. Currently, our group has been working with 4 different residents in the district who we've identified as being at risk. We've been going over to these residents, their house is on duty, and spending time with these residents and just building a good relationship with them. We are very excited to move forward with this program and build our relationship with our at-risk population. If anyone has any questions, Doug, Shane, or myself would be happy to answer them.
Christian, quick question there. And it's a great idea. I truly appreciate the efforts you guys are putting forward. So that's fantastic. Thank you. You've identified 4 individuals, as you stated. from contact you've had, you expect you may get to 10, I think you said, but that's a good number target maybe. How are you identifying the others, the other people, and or what's your outreach look like to make sure people know that that you're willing to do this service?
Kevin, real quick, just how this all came about. We have a couple, an elderly couple in the community that we care for the husband frequently. His wife passed away not too long before Christmas. She was kind of his caregiver. Christian at that point had asked if we could kind of go over and help him out. And he was really the first one that we identified. We've gone over, we have lunch with him. And then we realized that there were 4 other people within the community in that same situation that these 2 guys have identified. So we've reached out to them. And I don't, Doug's working on the program now.
So I think, Kevin, what you're looking for is how are we gonna reach some of the people in question? What we're looking to do for marketing purposes is putting up flyers around local businesses, getting to the, for example, the Coop, churches, the post office, things like that. When we're on an EMS call and we see that this could be a high-risk situation, drop off the information to them right then and there. Or if we didn't have it with us, then circle back with them the next day or so. That's how we're looking to get this system up and running. Is that kind of the question you're looking for?
Yeah, that's the answer to to the question. I appreciate that. So obviously you referenced the church. I think the church is going to be a great resource for you for that. Have you guys developed the deliverable yet, or are you in the process of doing that?
So that, like I said, we are at the beginning stages of this. So we will update you guys monthly once we get the program up and running.
Yeah, no question. Obviously, I think it's great, Doug. I really salute the efforts you all are putting forward there. I think it's phenomenal, frankly. And all I'm wondering is, you're obviously working on something you can drop off for them. And I get to kind of assume it's in the early stages of development of what you're going to be making available to give somebody to let them know what you're willing, what services are available. Is that the case?
Correct.
Okay. That's cool. Look forward to seeing it. Thank you.
I'd like
Any
to
other-
just
yeah.
add something in terms of your outreach program. In the last year, I've had occasion to deal with both Council on Aging, Elder Services, and the VNA. And I think all 3 of them would be very knowledgeable about people coming up in the district who they're either providing service to or are requesting service, who may well fall within the population you're looking at. Might be a good place to make sure you give them a hi and howdy about the program.
Yeah, I have direct contact with all of those agencies. So I do have been working with them. That's where we came up with the kind of the number of, roughly, and it's a rough estimate of how many we're going to have, but yeah, we have been in contact with them. That's a great idea, and we are following up on that.
Great work, guys.
Mhm.
Let me be the third to say this is a wonderful idea and sounds very promising. And it's one of those things that is just really great, guys. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? or-
Yeah,
Sure.
Jack, go ahead. Yep.
Okay, to the firefighters, is there a model that you can follow or are following for a program like this?
Yeah, so this program is coined the term reassurance program. That's as many of the police departments are using. We've kind of been following their model and adjusting it to a fire department standpoint. We're in the process of finalizing an application for these residents. And like I said, we've adjusted that from the police department model over to our model, where we're including residents, medication, allergies, medical history, all stuff that will help us on a potential call with these residents if we do end up seeing them. So we are following the model reassurance program. If you look online, it fills you in on a little bit more information.
Another resource for those in need might be Meals on Wheels.
Yep, that would be with the elderly services, in contact with them. They can give us, they can't give us all the information that we're looking for, but they can give us some of the direction that we're looking for.
Thank you.
Yep,
I'm looking forward to seeing the deliverables when they're ready.
you got it. We are working on them daily.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, thank you. The board, you gentlemen hear me often. It really, the guys here, they really continue to amaze me. I don't know why, I shouldn't be surprised by now with all the great things that they do and come up with, but they do continue to impress me and amaze me with some of their ideas and their willingness to engage in these activities. Because like I said, this really came from them. So, and they've shared some of the draft products that they want to use for kind of the intake and advertising process, and they're working on refining that. And yeah, like all of you, I think I look forward to seeing that final product. So thank you to them again. So, next on the personnel, Firefighter Lee and Chief Brown attended the tech rescue team drill that was up in Chatham, working on wide area search and a mapping software that the tech rescue team uses. That's one of the primary callouts. It appears that the wide area search, often related to dementia patients wandering off and getting called out to do organized, well-documented searches. So that was a good program. Any other questions under personnel?
Now,
Chief, could I ask you for a minute to back up to training, because I realize I had a question that I missed asking under that. You list in the training descriptions I won't mention the specifics, but you mentioned an address within the district that was the subject of more careful evaluation about it. And I was just curious if that was picked for a particular reason. Have we already been there? Is it a known problem?
Yeah, the building in question was condemned by the town. So
Oh,
we wanted
that's
to.
very interesting. I was going to ask the same question, so thanks for doing that, Rick.
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, the town condemned the building. However, if there were a chance that there was still occupants in the building, we wanted to ensure that everybody had a clear understanding of access and plan of attack, and to increase any
To your knowledge, are
reduce risk and increase survivability. What was that, Commissioner?
I was going to say, to your knowledge, are people still living there? I haven't seen them on the porch lately, but
Well, so people can be there to work on the property to bring it back up to where it needs to be. So, and so there could be occupants there doing work to bring it back to where it can be inhabited again. So,
I see. Okay.
While I have you backing up, I'd like to ask you a question about overlapping calls
Yes.
that were listed. It seemed, if I read it correctly, that there were 2 calls that were motor vehicle accidents, and I was having trouble following what the second call was. It seemed like in each case, a second call came in that was directly related to the first call.
Let me pull up the report. So there are 3 EMS calls and 1 motor vehicle accident. So there was a EMS call followed by an MVA, and then an EMS call followed by another EMS call.
But they were in fact different incidents.
Yes.
I assumed that they would have been, but I was just having trouble sorting out
Hey,
my
Rick, I think,
problem for not knowing all the coding.
Rick, for me, what was helpful is the times, and maybe you looked at it already. But if you look at the timestamps under the day 15:30, 15:50, 10:09, and 11:36,
Mhm.
helps separate it out a little bit, at least for me personally.
Good, thank you.
And thank you for the question. All right. Any other questions up to this point? Good. All right, next topic, apparatus and equipment. So I've mentioned the future of the brush breaker here in the fire department, and tonight what I'm going to request is approval to move forward with exploring a transfer of the brush breaker over to Joint Base Cape Cod. There was some interest by the DCR to have it. However, Joint Base is interested and would like to have the vehicle transferred over there where they would maintain it. They would have staffing and training on it, and it would be available if we ever needed it for a mutual aid response. It would be able to come over to Katuitt if we ever to need it. The breaker was a phenomenal investment when it came to the district, I believe. I recall the woods around here when I was a kid, and you could go all day and not run into a house and not run into a development. And that's just not the case anymore down here. And as well as different types of land management practices continue to come into the area, you're seeing more mature growth. You're seeing environments that are really not conducive to brush breaker operations. They're more inducive to other types of fire attack, as well as just a different philosophy in land management when it comes to how and when to extinguish fires so that you have a healthy woodlands area. So with that, I would like to explore that option with the approval of the Board of Commissioners.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this a sale in any way, or is it a gift?
So I don't know yet how this would play out as far as what, if any, monetary exchange would take place. Certainly, if there's a way to have a monetary exchange associated with this, then obviously that would be the road that I would go down. The breaker is in next fiscal year's capital project. I was going through some files, and it appears that the projection on the capital horizon for the breaker in fiscal year 24 was 184,000, I believe. And what I would recommend is that we get a what's called a forestry skid unit. So it's essentially a palletized.
So Chief, if I could interrupt you for 1 second, if my suggestion is we handle one kind of thing at a time.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
Yep.
So, as you said, the breaker was a phenomenal investment at a point in time. Right now, it gets very little use. I don't think it was on one call last year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It didn't roll on a single call in
Yeah.
calendar year 22. So,
I think it only rolled in the parade, right? So that being said, I think it's worthwhile for the chief to explore all options on moving the breaker out of our inventory. It does cost us some money occasionally, as we all know. And the fact of the matter is, we're probably better off, to Adam's point, we're going to see if there's any value to it as we move it on and take it out of our inventory, frankly, one way or another. That being said, Rick, I look to you kind of as the expert from a motion point of view. Do we, as commissioners, need to vote on a motion to move that out of our inventory, or is that at the chief's discretion, in your opinion?
I would have to guess that in spite of its age and condition, it still has a book value of in excess of $5,000. And I think for the chief's protection, it would be better if we made a formal motion to authorize him to further explore this, even if that meant putting it out on loan to the base between now and such time as we know the terms of a formal disposal.
Okay, so I had you, I was gonna second that or make that as stated. The last part of it, you lost me a little bit on. So are you saying that, what was the last portion of what you were saying? Can you restate that by any chance?
Just to authorize the chief to pursue the disposal of the unit to the base.
Okay, so I am absolutely in line with that. Adam, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, my support for this is not predicated on whether we get anything for it. I was just asking the question.
No,
So, I absolutely am in support of, at this point, we're saying, yeah, go explore it. We're not actually, there's no decision that is presented to, there's no proposal that we're looking at here. We're just saying, go, yeah, chief, figure it out. That'd be great.
I think the chief is pretty well down the path in figuring it out, frankly. I think what we really need to consider here is that the chief probably has some T's to cross and I's to dot on this thing. So what I would like to actually see is, let me rephrase it. My suggestion, based on where he's at, was that we give him authority to dispose of this as he deems appropriate. More or less, Rick, I thought that was the way you were going. I might be wrong here, but this is just, good conversation to have.
Well, that changes things. If you are indeed quite far down the path, then yeah, that changes sort of the nature of the motion, I suppose.
So the chief has talked to the chief. What did you talk to? We don't need to get deep into it. But you talked to the forestry department previously. I think on this one, the forestry department had shown some interest in it. Now the joint base is showing interest in it. Forestry could not move forward with it. The fact of the matter is, this particular device did the right thing at the right time for us. We need to get it off the capital plan for next year, or 2 years out. I think it's 170, the chief said, or something like that. What we need to do is to, in my opinion, is get it off the books, give the chief authority to move on and dispose of it as best he can to the benefit of Katuitt Fire District, which is going to mean, based on what he's worked out, is that we'll have access to it in the event of an emergency. However, we'll have a federal government asset maintaining it, which is pretty good news, in my opinion.
Well, there may be some issue as to how that, I don't know, that asset's being depreciated by the district. So there may be some accounting issue that we have to deal with.
That's a great point. So we could, if you guys are in general, if we think as commissioners that it makes sense to move forward with this, we could probably do some kind of a motion that includes chief checking with Ray on whether there's any depreciation issues, and if we are clear that there is no accounting issues involved with the movement of this asset, then we can give him authority to do that. Does
I
that,
would have- I would have two things to throw on the table here. Since we do not pay taxes, our depreciation is only defined by when it comes up, to my understanding, in the long-term capital improvements planning. We look at it no longer on a fiscal basis of how much we've written off, but what are we anticipating its useful lifespan to be? And when that reaches some point we've determined, we put it in long-term capital planning for potential replacement, expecting that it is close to or exceeded a reasonable lifespan for use. The other point I just want to throw out is that the one piece of information I would like, not because I'm not in favor of moving forward with this process, but I would really like to know some estimate of what the current book value is. And I say this not at a practical level for the equipment or for the work the chief has done. I'm thinking about the three of us appearing at annual district meeting and being able to know the dollar value of an asset that we moved to dispose of.
Yeah, I only brought the depreciation thing up because from this perspective, I think we should just check to see if there's any issues. And I think you're right. We want to be the optics of that could come around to bite us.
Yeah.
great points, absolute great points. So I think we obviously do not need a motion at this point on it. I think there's a couple of open items, obviously the value, so we know what that value is, chief, as well as checking with Ray to see if there is any open issues from an accounting point of view. We were scheduled, as Rick said, I think useful life of 24, we're now in 23. So the question is, will that cause us any issues because we had already had a capital plan out to 24? So I guess we have to just verify what that means from an accounting perspective. That make sense?
Yes, yep.
I'd like us to go forward with the motion, Kevin, just so the chief has it in his back pocket as he continues the conversation, because the motion is to pursue this.
Yep, okay. So why don't you, I'm with you 100%. Why don't you state the motion and see if we can get somebody to second it?
I'd like to move that the chief pursue disposal of the brush breaker to Joint Base Cape Cod to determine valuation, utilization, and availability back to the district if needed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, we have a unanimous vote on that. Thank you, gentlemen. And Chief, you have some, a little bit of due diligence to do, and I think we'll be in good shape, okay?
Yep, very good.
Now, I apologize for interrupting you there, Chief. I know there's some very important stuff you want to hop into now, and please do that, but I wanted to take them kind of as separate items, so.
Yep,
please,
no, and yeah, that makes sense. So, assuming that the transfer does happen and we're able to arrange this, the proposal that I would have in FY 24's capital would be for a skid unit for the pickup truck, and essentially it's a palletized system that has a small water tank and a small pump and hose and some storage setups, storage areas for hand tools, and that is really more appropriate for the types of environment that we're encountering now. And that would be around a $15,000 purchase. So potentially put that into the capital project for FY 24 instead of the the replacement of the breaker.
So go from 150,000, which frankly probably is the low end, to a $15,000 solution that'll probably work better.
Yes, I do believe so. That is my professional opinion. So,
Okay, thank you. And gentlemen, any questions on that? I think the chief has one other piece along these lines he wants to discuss, but any questions on that?
The term palletized, is it a fixed thing to the pickup, or is it a towed? Is it a towed device?
it's put into the bed of the pickup truck and secured, and it would be in there.
Okay, so it's in the bed of the, okay.
Yep, yeah, and it would be in the potentially year round, but certainly 3 seasons anyway. It's interesting dynamic on the Cape, whereas brush season appears to be this year anyway, all year round. So without the snow cover. So the next item on here is a UTV from the county. So the Barnstable County has a small side-by-side. It's a enclosed all-terrain vehicle essentially, and this also has a smaller. So new subject, completely separate from what we just discussed. This also has a smaller skid type unit in the back of it, even smaller than what would be in the pickup truck. And this would be something that would be able to be used on the beach, be something that's able to be used on all of the trail systems without having to bulldoze down trees and things of that nature. And so the county has one available, and we're pursuing potentially having it relocated to the Katuitt Fire Department for our use here.
Okay, so just so that we're all on the same page with this, Adam, kind of goes to your earlier question. This is an all-terrain vehicle. This is my verbiage. It's an all-terrain vehicle that's on a trailer, right? That has the pumping system, smaller pumping system that would sit in the station on a trailer and get hooked up as appropriate and taken to where it has to be leveraged. Correct, Chief?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, and that would cost us nothing at all. That would be something with the chief is looking at to get from the county. The only exposure, and every full disclosure here, right? If that thing gets called on to be used just in West Barnstable as an example, right? Because it's a county asset, we would probably send somebody over with the pickup truck with that attached to it to drop it off.
Yes, that's correct. It would be a county asset. So yeah, if another community on the Cape needed it, there's potential that they could call us and ask us to deliver that and drop it off. We wouldn't be required to stay there. Again, it would be towed by a pickup truck, disconnect the trailer, and our personnel would come back. So,
Okay. Are we on the hook for maintenance?
no, that I'm working out the agreement right now, but currently my understanding is that would be, and I'll bring us all back with obviously with the granularity and the details, but the insurance, the maintenance, everything would be the county. It would remain the county's piece of equipment.
Where would you store it?
Here at the firehouse. So this is a smaller vehicle. It can
Oh,
fit
yeah,
in.
like over next door or behind?
No, I mean, potentially, but if it's a trailer, yes, it could go next door. If we keep it on the trailer, quite frankly, I'd probably keep it off the trailer inside the firehouse, because most of the places in the village, it can just leave right from the station and go to, without having to be trailered to a location.
Are there any issues about driving it on the roads?
That level of granularity, I really haven't gotten into yet, because whether we have to trailer it or drive it, I haven't gotten down to that level yet.
Okay. Does it require any special training?
Yes. Yes, not anything that we need to bring in outside instructors for, but yes, certainly just like any other vehicles that we have here, people would have to get broken in on it, as we say.
Bunch of questions just popped into my head. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, these are all great questions. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's a very interesting idea. I guess, Chief, when you and I have talked about it, you referenced county asset. I made the assumption, and I know you're gonna verify it now, but I made the assumption that maintenance, licensing, so forth and so on, registration, whatever that has had to be part of it, would come under the county. So let's, just as you said, some due diligence on a few things, and we'll look to see where we go from there, okay?
Yep.
Cool.
One other question. Any thoughts about the degree, the frequency of use? Or is that just, who knows?
As far as the types of calls and in here, yeah, it would depend on what the nature of the call is, and because it could be used for brush, it could be used for medical calls, it could be used for.
Yeah, no, I was only, where I was going with that is it something that you feel is filling or fixing a problem or addressing an issue, or I was just, it's okay to say no. It's more of an opportunity than it is addressing something that was lacking prior to this opportunity.
Yeah, so I think the answer is to probably yes to both of those. It's an opportunity, but also I think it's a more appropriate type of vehicle for a lot of these. So again, it's somewhat tied into the breaker conversation, but not directly. This is a smaller vehicle that again can get into tight areas without the need to bring down trees and things like that. Another tool in the toolbox. So
my brother has a couple of them on his place up in upstate New York, so I know what
So as I look at this, to the chief's point, I did ask him to take all three pieces as separate conversations, because I think for me, when he and I had discussed some of this, I got a little bit confused with it, right? So that's just me. You guys probably wouldn't have got confused, but as I look at the breaker, again, served a great purpose. But if you had something happen, right now out at Eagle Pond, right? I would much rather have an ATV running out there with a medic on it, right? Prepared to respond with, medical and or, water suppression, whatever, if that became available and necessary. So to me, it's kind of like when you look at the skid for the pickup in this unit, we are going from having a older maintenance prone vehicle that served a purpose in time to two modern, tools that will serve us better. Personal opinion.
completely understood. Yeah.
I like the framework of it. I think that the utility is certainly there. The UTV, does it have capacity to have a stretcher clamped on back?
I would anticipate that we'll be able to do that. Yes. Yeah. Whether it's in conjunction with the skid or separate from the skid. So,
Okay.
because that skid unit can come out of that. It's a smaller unit, different than the pickup truck. So a little bit larger and not something that can just be taken off by hand. It's more of an operation to take one out of the pickup truck, whereas the skids that are in these UTVs, they're a little bit easier to deal with if needed.
Okay.
Okay. Chief, thank you for your forethought and your work in the system. So great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Next, the ambulance. So Ford finally released the cabin chassis cost. So we actually have good solid numbers to start working with here. However, there at best, it's probably gonna be about $40,000 more than what the article approved purchasing. So I want that note out there, so,
Good news, bad news.
yeah.
I think we all, I think all of us, at least I'm pretty sure all of us anticipated we were going to have some type of an uplift with everything's going on in the world. 40,000, chief, what percentage is that?
Of an increase.
Yeah.
Out of the, well, there was 2, 3, I don't have that article open in front of me.
That's all right. When you look at inflation right now and you look at that increase, I bet if we were to do the math, I bet it'd be right in line with where, inflation's been running now. But
We have about 270,000 left in the warrant appropriation for the new ambulance. Having already got the power lift system, using some of that.
Yeah, so, yes, yep, we have, yeah, so the total article was $345,000. We purchased the power system, which is, a requirement for us to have the stretcher and part of that system. Or, certainly to having the A stretcher in the ambulance. So, yeah, so the quotes came in. 1 minute and I'll tell you exactly what that came in at.
so let me ask you this, as you're doing that, right now we have, I believe we have this on order, chief. Have we signed papers to get this going to secure that chassis and that cab?
No, but I would like to do that as soon as possible with now that everybody has this information.
So I believe we can move forward with those signatures and then in a spring meeting, ask for the allocation for the additional funds. Does that sound appropriate to the members on the board here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, good. So that's what we'd like to do, chief. If I need to stop by and sign something, I'm happy to do that, sir. And just I want to get this thing locked in sooner rather than later.
Yep.
The chief has been, done a nice job. I've been on the periphery a little bit, watching him and the team work to get some stuff locked down. It seemed like every other week it was going to lock down next week, and it didn't happen. Now it finally locked down. So the sooner we get signature to paper, sooner we get commitment. It'll be about 2 years out, correct, chief, once we get everything signed and sealed?
Most likely, we're looking at 2 years, yep.
And we
Chief,
want
with the chassis and powertrain costs now more specified, do we now have a total or a ballpark total for what the total the full package would be absent the power lift?
$310,963 is what has been quoted to us, and that obviously does not include the power lift, which we have already purchased.
So 42,000 over what we have
Yes.
already submitted in the good. You are already authorized by prior vote and the warrant to sign whatever you have to sign to lock us in on our order.
Okay. All right, then I will work with the chairman and get the contract signed as soon as we can.
Nice job on that, chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, while we're, and I think it's appropriate here, while we're talking about ambulances and such, do we have, I'm pretty sure you have an update on our arrangement with Sandwich, correct?
Yeah, their cabin chassis is in. They have, I want to say they came in about a month ago. They had a 6 they had a 5 to 6 month build out, so potentially May or June, we could move forward with that shared resource agreement and have a second ambulance available for the district. So, which would be here at the firehouse, and we could have it for second calls. We could have it for when our primary vehicle goes down, and then if and when Sandwich needs it for some reason, they would have access to that. So, and that was something that was in the works prior to my arrival, but is now just looking like it could come to fruition. And again, that was the limiting factor, or the delays were associated with the availability of the cabin chassis to put the ambulance box on. So,
And as we get closer to, I just wanted to make sure everybody is up to date on where we are with that. You know, there was a lot of passion around that conversation when we had that at the last, well, probably a couple town meetings ago now, actually, now that I think about it. But it's moving forward. It's very positive. We know we have some challenges with 262 occasionally, so it's going to put us in a good position for second calls and or backup. That resource, it will get into the fine details as we get closer, but that resource will be labeled both Sandwich and Katuitt, and it'll have their run number on it, and it'll have our run number on it. So it'll be well positioned for us for what we need for the village. And it'll be maintained by Sandwich, so that's a positive. But again, we'll have more details on that and have more conversation about that as it becomes reality, okay?
Yeah, a question though, as we move forward, do we have more details about what additional equipment we will have to purchase to make it an ALS vehicle or continue it as an ALS vehicle?
so the EMS officers from the organizations will be working out those details, and we have that $65,000 article to help address any of those shortfalls. But I do not have a list at this moment. So, but it will be, it'll be able to be equipped as an ALS vehicle and maintained at that.
Hey, Chief, on a positive note, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it'll have a power lift in place when it arrives. Is that the case?
That is my understanding, yeah.
So that would not be a cost, obviously, and that would be something that would be, very helpful, consistent with what we have currently now and what we'll have going forward.
Yep, very good.
Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep. And having the ability to spot for it if the breaker does get transferred, it opens up a spot to keep the second ambulance too. So not to kind of tie all these things in, but they are intertwined. So.
But also to that point, by the way, Chief, just so everybody's on the same page, because there was some panic that ran through the village at a point in time. We have had that box in our station, I believe, backing up when 262 was out. And contrary to what some people suggested, it does fit very nicely into our station. That's to be taken in carefully because of the size, but it does fit.
Yes, yeah, we've run that particular vehicle here when 262 has been out of service. We've bought it from Sandwich, and the guys love it. And if they could figure out a way to send 262 back to Sandwich, I think they.
No, I got you. I just wanted to make sure on this call, everybody understood it does fit into the station. That's all I wanted to make sure everybody knew.
Kevin has some experiences with decals, so maybe.
I was gonna say, swap the decals, nobody will notice.
Right.
There you go. I know a guy. We can take care of it.
All right. Anything else under apparatus and equipment? I know that was a lengthy conversation.
Nope.
Okay. Facilities, we got the compressor fixed, and then something else failed on it, and we got that fixed again. So that's back up and running, but that's going to have to get plugged in, I think, on capital. project for replacement as well. The front steps slash ramp, Lieutenant McNamara has been diligently working on that and helping me a lot with that. He's been in touch with 3 vendors. Only one of them has gotten back to him, and he's meeting them here tomorrow to review the project.
Hey, guys, I want to throw out a thought in this conversation on, relative to the compressor, relative to the stairs slash ramp, and relative to the fact that on the new business, I'm going to suggest that we begin the process of looking at station requirements. Stop dancing around with this conversation and get it in the record. I would like to obviously be involved with that, but independent of that, but related, we need to really look at, what these stairs come back at. We have a ramp that we need to verify is still functional and remain functional. And depending on what these stairs come back at from a cost point of view, we may need to consider using the ramp and, making it permanent that there are no stairs there. Because at some point, we may need a new compressor in the future, right? We need a new set of stairs today. We're going to need a new something when it comes time to replacing 26. I'm always bad at this. 263. Thank you, Chief. The fact of the matter is, whatever we bring into this house that we have today, is going to have to be retrofitted, or the station is going to have to be retrofitted for it to fit in. So my only comment there is we need to look carefully on what we spend on upkeep. We have to keep the doors open. We know that. But we have to be careful on what we spend to improve. That might be a lost leader, and we need to start really considering what we're going to do from a future station.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
Yep.
So, thanks, Chief. I kind of jumped in on you there. I just wanted to, make sure people, again, get the thought process going, because we have to. In my opinion, we've kind of sat back on the sidelines and waited for something else, relative to, a location in the village becoming available in some fashion. But all that being said, we have done a needs assessment. I was part of that with Chief Rude. Chief Brown has done, station assessments, needs assessment himself in the past. So the fact of the matter is, he's well positioned to start that process. So as we move forward, I want to just make sure we're all on the same page considering that. Chief, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, thank you. Appreciate the input. And with that, that concludes my report for January, pending any questions from the board.
Chief, in terms of the most recent ledger report, I just had a couple of quick questions that held off on because I wasn't exactly sure where they would fall.
Okay.
In the salary and wages, we have a line item for urban search and rescue that is separate from the line item for training. And I could not recall why those were separated.
That is the reimbursements that the village receives from the federal government when I am deployed to the federal government.
Gotcha. Thank you very much for that one. We have, and I'm just going down the list of the ledger of the items I
Yeah.
questions about.
Yep.
We have 11,000 still available in repairs and maintenance for the building. And we have another almost 2,000 for repairs on grounds. And so we're looking at just shy of 14 grand available in those two categories for stairs, ramp repair, whatever. But we also still have in the special warrant from, I think it's now 3 years back. We still have in fire station repairs, another 8,000 available in that. And I would just like to say, any of these previous warrants, that's line item 583120, last thing on the ledger, that we should be making sure that we use the money out of these prior appropriations from years past,
Right.
use them appropriately, but use them so that we're not dangling, unused balances from various appropriations that would have been very useful to apply.
Yep. Yes. Yep, I will have some of the repair money actually being used soon from the prior year's articles and appropriations. As far as the current operating year, I'm still trying to be cognizant of the significant amount of money the vehicle repairs are going to be this fiscal year, probably to the tune of potentially $20,000 over the budget. So, I'm trying to hold off on certain expenses out of this year's operating budget. So, but I will be utilizing that, that I believe it was from FY20, the fire station repairs cap, that I think that's a
Right.
capital line. So,
Yes,
yep. So, yeah, so, yeah, thank
Good.
you. And I am paying attention to that. And I'm trying to be judicious with how I manage the overages that with the vehicles that with all the maintenance
right.
challenges.
I do appreciate the juggling act. I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I had one other question from the ledger, and this is back up to salaries and wages. The EMS officer stipend, is there some reason that that's not getting drawn down? It's been kind of sitting at this level for quite some time. Is this like a twice a year payout or something, or?
No, that is just, EMS officer Staggs,
Yeah.
he's really tries to do as much as he can on duty, and not, and if he can not have to charge the overtime, he tries to do it on duty, so.
I was not aware that that was meant to draw down for overtime costs of that. I thought that was a payroll stipend or I know we're now avoiding the word stipend, but I think I must have misunderstood the structure of that line item. I thought that was additional pay in return for. I didn't realize he had to bill it as overtime.
Yeah, I gotta tell you the truth, Rick, I remember it as overtime. I could be
Okay.
wrong, but I remember it as, the conversation, I believe at the time was around, there's not necessarily enough time during the course of a shift for the EMS
Sure.
officer to do what has to be done. And in
Right.
order to protect, in order to provide for that, since we were providing for an EMS officer, then we had to have funds available to pay the overtime that person would do. So that's my recollection of how that was structured.
Yeah, I want to say we budget for, I don't have that right at my fingertips, but it's somewhere around, it might be like 10 hours a month. Don't hold me to that. I'd have to go through the
Yeah,
that article.
yeah, no, Kevin, I will happily defer to your memory on this. I don't tout my memory for much of anything these days.
All good. Rick, anything else, sir?
Nope, good. I'm good.
Okay, Chief, we're good for you for now. We have subcommittee reports, of which we have only one right now, I believe, and that is Spotlight Commissioner Zace. Do you have anything to report, sir, on the school project?
No, we're still in the same holding pattern we were last month. Nothing that I am aware of has moved forward. We're still waiting for various responses from the town and votes from the town and so forth.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to jump back for 1 second to personnel. I apologize for jumping back, but I think it's important, Chief. I don't think we mentioned it here unless I missed it. You have some interview plans in process, do you not, sir?
Yeah, we're hoping to do the deputy candidates at the end of this month. I've been in touch with Commissioner Zace to line up some schedules, and we're going to start contacting the candidates to start arranging the interview process. So the week of the 30th, which would be the end of January, beginning of February.
Great. I want to make sure everybody's in line with that, so thank you. Okay, I think we're good there. New business, like I said, what I'd like to throw on the table here from a new business point of view, and I love the opportunity to try to get my arms around it. We need to start talking about a new facility, a new building, a new, call it whatever you want. And I think personally, I think it starts with needs. Determine, in a lot of ways, I'll defer to the chief. We don't have to get deep into this tonight. I just want to make sure we're on record. I would love the opportunity to, continue some of the work I had done previously on needs assessment, get my hands into this thing and work with the chief and/or perhaps some, citizens that have some experience in the space. So just throw that out to you guys. Thoughts, comments?
Kevin, I think that developing a comprehensive and specific list of station needs would be invaluable, because I know there's a lot of mixed sentiment in the village about people jumping to, oh, we need a new building, and other people jumping to, oh, we ought to remodel the old building. But without a comprehensive list of needs, when that study money finally gets allocated,
That's right.
that's where the rubber hits the road. They need a real look at needs in order to evaluate what kind of going forward option makes the most sense, both in terms of utility and cost. And so, yeah, the more developed that is, the better off our needs are going to be in terms of having a chance of getting met.
Okay. I obviously I agree wholeheartedly, and I appreciate the feedback there. Adam, any thoughts, comments here?
No, I completely agree that we need a plan. I have experience and interested in this, but I do understand the problems of open meeting law things. So I'm happy for you to continue the work that you worked on before, or appropriately and diligently. So, but yeah, we need a plan. We know we need a new facility of some. We need something different than what we have.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So what I'm going to suggest, if we could maybe do a quick motion, I think that's the best way to work these things. We'll create a new subcommittee. We'll do a subcommittee report every month on a facilities requirements. Is that a good title for it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
So moved.
Go ahead.
Second.
Okay, well, let me just back up. I know we did that very quick, and I appreciate that. John, you're laughing. I'm going to draft you. You made the mistake of coming on this call. So Jack, I'm just telling you. So here's the deal,
It's a
guys.
great suggestion. Get Jack involved as the citizen representative on the subcommittee, And then
just-
we don't fall afoul of any of the quorum issues. I can always express my opinions to the chief and to Jack and to you individually.
We're gonna bring it here every month anyways, right? And Jack, you don't have to do it every month, but the fact of the matter is the subcommittee, will report every month, right? We'll let you know where we're at. And then we can have whatever conversation at the time. So I know we kind of move with the quick, motion. The motion I would like is that, we do a motion, create a subcommittee to look at facilities with Kevin Connolly, leading that effort at this time. Is that a good motion?
Are we going
As
to
moved.
second?
All those in favor, we got it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for
Adam.
stepping forward, Jack.
Adam, you good? Did you say aye?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Chief, do we have any public comments sitting out there?
We do not have anything in the chat, and we do not have any emails. We have Mr. Gardner in attendance, if he has anything, or that might
Jack,
be it.
anything you want to throw out here?
Well, you were giving out kudos earlier in the meeting to the firefighters and the crew. And I am a member of the Katuitt Federated Church. And I don't know whether the general public is aware of the fact that the firefighters donate hams at Thanksgiving and Christmas time to the families in the community that are in need of a special dinner at those 2 times of the year. And they've been doing this for quite a while, as far as I know. And it's a great way for the fire department to make itself known that they do more than just put the cold stuff on the hot stuff, as they say. So on
Jack,
behalf of the
Yeah,
Katuitt Federated Church and the citizens who are able to enjoy that food, thank you.
well, thank you for bringing that up. We appreciate that. We appreciate the acknowledgement. Okay, we're good there with those comments. With that being said, other business, okay. I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session under purpose 3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares, bargaining unit local 3642. The committee will return to open session.
We will.
Will not return, will not.
Thank you. Okay.
That frightened me.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Adam?
I said aye.
Oh, I missed it, Adam. I'm sorry. Just.
Aye,
Aye.
aye.
Okay,
Aye, Cam.
thank you very much. Jack, we're going to executive session. Thank you very much for joining. We appreciate it. Sir, you are welcome anytime.
Thank you. Thank
Stay
you.
healthy, Jack.
Great meeting.
Okay, guys,